तमसो ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. Turn to page 9. We'll do the invocation. We'll chant together. Tapovikshirapāpānaṁ Shantānaṁ Vitaraginam Mukshunam Apekshoyam AtmaBodho Vidhiyate. Page 35, we will chant the shlokas we covered previously, 12 to 16. Panchīkrita mahabhuta sambhavam karma sanchitam shariram sukha dukkhanam bhogaya danamuchyate. Pancha prana mano buddhi dashendriya samanditam apanchīkrita bhūtotam sūshmāngam bhoga sadhanam anādya vidya nirvācya kāranopādhiruchyate upadhitritayādanyam ātmānam avadhāraye. Panchakoshādiyogena tattadmaya vivastitah shuddhātmā nīlavastrādi yogena spatiko yatha vapustushādhirvikoshaihi yuktam yuktya-vaghatatah Atmānamantaram shuddham vivichyatandalam yatha. So we haven't met in a long time, I know. So what we covered in our last class was really the upadhis. So how AtmaBodha started, if we want to know, the first verse we did the invocation shlokas, right? Then the second to fifth verse was about knowledge of the self. How self-knowledge is the direct means to liberation. Verse 6 to 9 was about the falsity of the world. Remember the bubbles with Budani, Vavani. Verse number 10 to 14 is about the upadhis. About the various different upadhis or layers of conditioning that we have. So they are the gross body, the subtle body, the causal body. Or they are also the 5 sheets. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. Verse number 15 says, what is the problem? The problem is not the 5 sheets, but the identification with the 5 sheets. So it's almost like this. Think as if you have $10 million in your bank account. $10 million is in your bank account. But what happened is, for some reason, you can't access that bank account. For some reason, you can't get into it. There's some kind of block. It's right there, but it's not there. It's so close, but yet it's so far. We just can't get in. Or imagine right now, our whole lives are in our computers. Everything is in our computers. All kinds of information, all valuable information is in our computers. And somehow we want to get into our computers, but what does it say? Access denied. Denied. Why? Someone hacked our computers. And so all that information is there. Everything is there. Everything that we want, we've learned. But access denied. Why? Because ignorance has hacked us. This ignorance has completely hacked our mind. And we have these blockages. These blockages can be 3, or these blockages can be 5. 5 blockages are the 5 sheets. These things, it's very intuitive. We don't have to, we can study logic and logically analyze that we're not the body, but it's so intuitive. When we sit just to feel our presence, we are aware of this body that we're seeing right here, right? We're so aware of what's in this body. We're so aware that it's changing. I mean, it doesn't even take days to change. It takes a couple of hours to change, or a couple of minutes to change, right? You eat something really, really spicy and boom, your body is just completely different. Or the kids eat something very sweet and you know what happens to their bodies. It takes a couple of minutes. So intuitively you can feel, or we can feel, that I am not Annamaya Kosha. We actually don't need Vedanta to tell us that. It's so real. But why Vedanta is telling us that is because we're not focusing on it, right? Pranamaya Kosha, our second blockage. Our second blockage is Pranamaya Kosha. And sometimes we feel we are this breath, we are this energy, we are this vital air sheath. But let me ask you something. Everybody take a deep inhale now. Just deep inhale. And deep exhale. Deep inhale once again. Now hold your breath for 10 seconds. And exhale. Now slowly open your eyes. Now what about this breath? We're all so crazy about the breath. But didn't you just control your breath right now? You just did, right? You just controlled it. So how can we be this breath? Everyone's gone so crazy identifying with this pranamaya kosha, thinking that I'm tired or I'm hungry or I'm energetic or I'm just stressed out and burnt out. And there are people even who will give TED Talks. I was able to hold my breath for 2 minutes under the water. What will Vedanta come and say? That's pranamaya kosha. Don't waste your TED Talk there. Isn't it? But still we're so hung up on it. But intuitively you just felt it. You felt that you're not pranamaya. The next one could be manomaya, the mind. This is so easy. Close your eyes for a few moments. And now just watch all the thoughts that are coming. Like a parade. Like what Gurudev says. Just watch all your thoughts. And slowly open your eyes. And what happened? You yourself saw your thoughts. I didn't have to tell you anything. You saw. So that can't be you. You saw which thoughts were coming. You saw which thoughts were moving. So intuitively you can feel that you're not manomaya kosha. Nobody has to tell you anything. Oh, vijnanamaya kosha. Next up. That ego notion that I am Shivani, or you are a student, or you are a girl, you are a boy, or you are a teacher. All these different roles and responsibilities, they also keep changing, isn't it? Which one could you be? Which Shubhani could I be? Could I be Shubhani from 2 years ago or Shubhani now? It's all so different. Intuitively also you can see and feel, how can you be this ego notion that is in the Vijnanamaya Kosha? How can we be it when we're sleeping? We have no notion of that. Absolutely no notion. Your life will tell you that you're not this. You have to just pay attention to it. So Intuitively I can know that I'm not Vijnanamaya Kosha because when I'm sleeping it's gone. My sense of identity is gone. When I'm sleeping, there's no sense of space, there's no sense of time, there's no sense of identity. And that's why when I wake up, what's the first thing I do? What time is it? Because I've lost my sense of time. And then after, what time is it? Where am I? Sometimes things happen to you, you wake up, you forget where you actually are, somebody's house. You're like, oh, I'm here. I forgot. We forgot. Because we lost the sense of space when we were sleeping. We lost the sense of time when we were sleeping. We lost the sense of I when we were sleeping. Small I. Then what comes is Anandamaya Kosha. That deep bliss, that deep silence which we experience. We experience in deep sleep, we can experience also in waking state, we can when we have such a deep, profound silence where we lose ourselves. But can that be you? Or can that be me? No, because we're experiencing it. In Viveka Chudamani, the teacher tells the student, keep going past the sheets, keep going past the sheets, and negate them one by one. And the student said, I did that. I negated it one by one, but what's left is nothing. So am I nothing? What's left was the silence. So am I the silence? And the teacher said, no. Are you aware of that silence? The student said, yes. That means your awareness, you're not even that silence. Many times we get lost in this. We will negate all the sheets in our meditation and be left with utter silence and think that that's the self. But the very fact that I'm saying that's the self means that's not the self. Because the self can't speak. So it's not silence, it's the silence beyond that silence also. So we have to be careful, huh? It's not that silence, it's the silence beyond that silence. That's where we have to go to. So the problem of the student lies here, that we forget and we start to identify with these sheets. You can call it the 5 sheets, you can call it the 3 bodies, but we keep identifying with it. And the more we identify, the more so. So in verse 16 we saw, sometimes intuitive experience, believe it or not, is not enough. Sometimes we're like, really? You know, I'm not the body? And sometimes we need logic. We have to pound it. And we have to separate Atma and Anatma like the rice from the husk. We have to separate Atma and Anatma. And so if you remember, our last exercise was logic. Seeing why I'm not Annamaya, Pranamaya, etc. Each kosha. So that's why we study these texts, because logic helps. Sometimes even this feeling, intuitive feeling, is not enough. We need logic. But then, even if how much logic we use, still we're not getting it. Why is that? Still we're not getting it, despite all the logic we're using, we're not getting it. So now verse 17 addresses another issue, another problem of why we're not getting this knowledge. So that's where we will start from today. So page number 51 on your book. Sada sarvagato pyatma
Sada sarvagato pyatma
na sarvatra vabhasate
na sarvatra vabhasate
buddha veva vabhaseta
buddha veva vabhaseta
swacheshu pratibimbavat
Svacheshu pratibimbavat
sada sarvagato pyatma
na sarvatra
Tathyapi Atma. Even if the self is Sada Sarvagata, always all pervading, Na Sarvatra Avabhasate, Na Avabhasate, it doesn't shine Sarvatra, everywhere. Buddhau, in the intellect, Eva Avabhaseta, in the intellect alone it shines. Like how Swacheshu, Swacheshu means a transparent surface, Pratibimbavat, just like a reflection in a transparent surface. So there are a couple of things in this verse. First one will ask, let me ask you, is Atma everywhere?
Yes.
Yes.
Is Atma in this desk?
Yes. Yes.
Is Atma in this mic?
Yeah.
Is Atma in me?
Yeah.
Why is it that I have life and this doesn't? What's the difference?
Matter and Prakriti and the life because it doesn't have.
So even if this doesn't have life, it still has Atma. Is that right? Or is it that if it doesn't have life, it doesn't have Atma?
If it doesn't have life, it doesn't have Atma.
No.
It is, it's only existence.
No.
Okay.
It is probably.
It's part of Brahman, but it is
Every atom, every molecule, every.
Anatma.
Chara and Achara, right? It is moving around.
Okay. So, this has Atma. This is Atma. This is also Atma. So what happens is we get confused between consciousness, which is Atma, and sentiency. Consciousness and sentiency. Consciousness is everywhere. So there are three things that are everywhere. Asti, Bhati, Priya. You know how the self is Sat, Chit, Ananda, right? So everything in the world has existence. You say this is existence, it exists. Everything in this world has consciousness. How do you mean? Because it can be known. It has the ability to be known. This table can be known. This mic can be known. This book can be known. Therefore, it has consciousness. And everything in the world has Ananda also. This is dear to something, it's dear to me because I'm using it. This book is very dear to me because it's by Adi Shankaracharya ji. Everything in the world is dear to somebody or the other. Now I know what you're going to ask me. Mosquitoes, are they dear to anybody? How is it that it has Ananda? Mosquitoes are very dear to who? Good night, that good night company. Huh? Because they make a lot of money. Because of mosquitoes. If mosquitoes were not there, they wouldn't make money.
Lizards like them, they like to eat them.
Oh, there you go. So everything has Sat, Chit, Ananda. Okay. Now the thing is, this has manifested Sat, right? Manifested Sat, it exists. But the Chit aspect is not manifest. Sat is there, Chit is there, Ananda is there. Sat is manifest, Chit is not manifest. Why? Because consciousness can only be manifest when there is a mind. When there's a mind, intellect, equipment, then only consciousness can manifest. So think about the sun as consciousness. Huh? The sun shines everywhere. But everywhere, do you see a reflection of the sun? No. You will see the reflection of the sun maybe in a pool of water. Or you'll see the reflection of the sun maybe in a wall or a glass or something. But maybe in this carpet we won't see the reflection of the sun. In the same way, consciousness is everywhere. But because this doesn't have a mind-intellect equipment, it doesn't have sentiency, or what you call life. Hmm? So this is a very important concept to think. Don't think that this doesn't have Atma. Everything in the world is Atma. Everything in the world is Satchitananda. But it's just that in some things, Chit is not manifest. So in this way, Atma is Sarvagataha, all pervading, all the time. Now, what happens here is that, now Atma, it manifests in me as life because I have a mind, intellect, equipment. And it manifests in you because you have a mind, intellect, equipment. But the second question now, can everyone realize Atma? Can everyone realize Atma?
Yes.
Yes. Potentially they
No,
can.
only humans.
Potentially they can. Humans.
Humans.
Yeah, in Viveka Churamani it says 3 things. Huh? What do you have to have? Manushyatva means human birth. Mumukshutva, burning desire to get liberated. And Mahapurusha Samshraya means refuge at the feet of a master. So why is it that some people are realizing and some people aren't? Because that mind, intellect, equipment isn't pure. Both a realized person and an ignorant person have a mind and intellect equipment. Why is it the realized person can realize that they are beyond this body, mind, intellect? Because their mind and intellect equipment is very, very pure. But for those of us who are ignorant, our mind and intellect equipment are not so pure. They're not so pure. So what happens is I hear this. I hear AtmaBodha. We studied AtmaBodha. Some of you may be studying also other texts. I hear so many things, but I'm not able to hold on to this knowledge. I can't hold on to it. Access denied. Why? Because my mind isn't pure. What does it mean by my mind isn't pure? It means there are 2 defects. Mala and Vikshepa. Mala means impurity in the form of Ashubha vasanas. I have these vasanas which are very impure, like I call them the 6 gangsters. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, right? This desire, this anger, greed, lust, jealousy, pride, all of these things, these Ashubha vasanas are still there in me. They're still there in me, so I get very disturbed easily. So even if I want to sit quietly and think about I'm not the 5 koshas, guess what I'm thinking about? What my coworker said to me yesterday. And why did he say that? Or why did she look at me like that? This is what I'm thinking about. Why? Because my mind is still with so many Ashubha vasanas. It's still there. It's still stinking at the mind. So on one aspect, I have mala. Another kind of thing I have is vikshepa. Vikshepa means my mind gets very distracted. So I know I'm supposed to sit and contemplate that I am Atma, I am this truth. But my mind gets so distracted, it goes here and there and everywhere, all over the place. It cannot stay steady. So when my mind has this mala, this dirt of impure vasanas, and vikshepa, it's going to be very hard for me to realize this truth. I'll be able to intellectually understand, but I won't be able to actualize it. I won't be able to live it because this dirt is still there. Now what do we do if we are in that category? If that dirt is still there? So in self-unfoldment, Gurudev says very beautifully that if we want to take away the negative vasanas, the remedy is karma yoga. Karma yoga is that which decreases the quantity of thoughts. It decreases my agitation. So if I'm finding that I'm that kind of person that still has a lot of these negative things in me, then perhaps I need to do some more karma yoga. Engage in some more selfless service so that these vasanas get totally burnt out. Suppose I'm the kind of person who my main issue is vikshepa. My mind just goes everywhere. It zooms at 20,000 miles an hour. It runs. It really runs. And every free moment I have, my mind is just going on and on and on and on and on. What do I do with that kind of mind? So Gurudev says in self-unfoldment, to change the quality of the thoughts, bhakti yoga or raja yoga, then keep that mind in Bhagavan. Keep that mind singing bhajans. Keep that mind singing, chanting, reading. Just keep that mind in the thought of the higher. If I have that impurity that I can't focus, it's okay. Many of us have that issue. It's very hard. It's not easy. But then whenever my mind is not focused, put some bhajan, put something beautiful to listen to. Once in a while when I'm driving, I like to put on Guruji's Bhagavatam. It's so beautiful. Then your mind is on Lord Krishna instead of like, why is this car doing this? Why is that car doing it, right? It's so nice. So these issues, these problems are very real. We have that. But the best thing is if we accept that, hey, right now my mind just isn't pure enough. It's just not. So then I need to work. I need to engage in more selfless service. But right now my mind is just very distracted. It's all over the place. Do some japa. When my mind becomes purer and purer and purer, then this self-knowledge can really take root. I can really live it. It won't just be a teaching that I hear in Vedanta class all the time. I'll really begin to feel it and internalize. So that's what the issue is. Okay? So, Sada Sarvagataha Atma. Atma is all-pervading. Na sarvatra avabhasate. Even though the life isn't manifest everywhere, that doesn't mean that Atma is all-pervading. Atma is all-pervading all the time, but it manifests as life when there is a mind and intellect equipped with it. Can everyone realize Atma? Everyone has the potential to realize Atma. Everybody does. But who will do it? The one who has the purity of mind. In verse 16, we saw the one who has clarity of knowledge. The one who has very clear knowledge. In verse 17, the one who has a purity of mind. So take time out to prepare. You know, when you cook, when you make the proper preparation, then everything becomes so easy after. You know, when you prepare everything, and when you have to do something, it's so easy. Or if you have to go to a Bal Vihar class, when you prepare everything nicely and you go, it becomes so easy. We've entered Vedanta without preparation. We got backdoor entry. We got backdoor entry because our Guru was so compassionate and said, let me tell you the truth. Because we didn't even want to know what it was. So he came down and said, this is the truth. Now come, find it out. Know it more. Know it deeply. He said, come, I'll give you a backdoor entry so that you'll want it. Otherwise you would have never even known it. So now that we got backdoor entry, let's make it work so that we can actually come through the front and make it worth it. So that's what this verse means. With verse 17, we have completed one topic. We took up the conditionings, the upadhis. We took up the problem, the identification with the conditionings, with the sheets, with the three bodies. We took up the solution, clarity of mind and purity, clarity of knowledge and purity of mind. Verse 18 to 22 now takes up a different topic and says, what is this Atma? You know, what exactly is this Atma? You're telling me after I negate everything, Atma alone will be there. But could you please tell me, what is this Atma? Give me some pointers so I know whether I know it or not. Give me closer pointers, and don't even give me only pointers, give me also examples so I can understand it even more clearly. So with that, we start verse number 18. Dehendriya mano buddhi prakritibhyo vilakshanam tadvritti sakshinam vidyat atmanam rajavatsada dehendriya mano buddhi prakritibhyo vilakshanam tadvritti sakshinam vidyat atmanam rajavatsada. So here it says that Atma is king. Not Singh is king. Atma is king. What do you mean? Here it introduces the word Sakshi. It says the first lakshana or indicator is Dehendriya mano buddhi prakritibhyaha.